If you are comfortable with camping, get a campsite, spend a day or two. If you're not comfortable with camping, pick a hike, a few mile hike if you're able to, and get some views of the lake. If it's during the summer season, see if you can get on our pontoon tour or rent a pontoon boat and go out, try to catch some fish and just enjoy the views of the lake. So I would say get out on the water.
And is there a place that people can borrow angling equipment if they don't have any?
Yes, we have lots of different loaner items at the park office and at the campground office.
Imagine a place where stress fades, fresh air fills your lungs, and adventure awaits around every corner. Welcome to Think Outside, the podcast that inspires you to explore, connect, and embrace the outdoors.
Welcome to Think Outside with the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation. I'm Marci Mowery, your host, and with me today is Jessica Lavelua at Gallitzin State Park. Jess, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for coming. Thanks for visiting and inviting me.
It's always wonderful to be at Gallitzin, such an amazing park.
It is beautiful.
Perfect day. I sat down on one of the docks after my drive and just kind of decompressed and talked to some of the people that were out in their boats.
Oh, nice. The warm weather is well deserved.
Yes, bringing people out. A lot of people down fishing. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you came to be here at Gallitzin State Park.
I've been with state parks for 19 years. I started as a trainee in Region 4 and was at Nockamixon State Park as an assistant for 4 years. Went to Black Moshannon and I was there for 6 years. And I have been here for 8 years, a little more than 8 years at this park. I am from the Poconos originally. And as I moved into central Pennsylvania, the whole state of Pennsylvania is just gorgeous. Like there's not a bad place to live in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
But as I moved to central Pennsylvania, I love it. I've found a home. I enjoy the central part of Pennsylvania, the mountains, the people, the kind of slower pace compared to the cities. So that's how I got here, Gallitzin.
Yeah, and it is quite beautiful. Yeah. I love when you start getting into the rolling hills and everything's starting to blossom because we're recording here in April, but some of our listeners may not have ever been here to Gallitzin State Park. So tell us a little bit about the character of the park and what people would expect if they visited.
Sure. It is, I guess you would call it South Central Pennsylvania. It's kind of in the middle of the state, close to Altoona, if anyone has heard of Altoona. But it really is like almost a destination. You're not going to be like close to a highway and happen to see a sign and trip over the park. You have to be like trying to come here. Very well used by the community. We have the third most high attendance of any state park. So it's Presque Isle, Pymatuning, and then Gallitzin.
Okay.
So large campground. We have 400 campsites and over 900 boat mooring spaces, kayak racks, that kind of thing. So it's a big sprawling lake, 1,600 acres, like in the shape of a W-ish. And people, good fishery, good boating, and people love the lake. The whole park is pretty with all the rolling mountains and scenic views, but really the best part of the park is the lake. So
I saw a lot of people out on the lake already today. And I noticed that there are a lot of rental pontoon boats and other type of rental boats available. So if somebody doesn't have that type of equipment, that shouldn't stop them from visiting.
Right. And the park its name is Lady Glendale. We have a big touring pontoon that can fit like 24 people. So once a week or so, once the season gets warmer through the whole summer, we do free pontoon boat rides that are educational. We have kayaks and we do kayak programs all the time. And there's rentals available in the campground and rentals available at Gallitzin Marina. So lots of rental options.
Lots of opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm staying in one of the cabins. So if people are no longer tent campers, there is another option for them. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We have 10 modern cabins. A few of them are pet friendly. And we have 3 camping cottages and 2 deluxe cottages in the campground. So the modern cabins kind of have everything. Except you have to bring your own linens and towels and sheets and stuff like that. But they have mini splits with heat and air conditioning now. They have refrigerator, oven, stove. And then what's really lovely about the cabin colony at Prince Gallitzin is close to the lake. There is it's just really nice views. So a lot of people will rent a boat if they don't have their own. There's a courtesy dock for anyone who is at the cabin area that they can just kind of park their boat there at no additional charge. So
that's a lovely amenity.
Yeah, same as the cottages are in the campground, and they are also right on the shoreline. So you could pull a boat right up on the shoreline by the cottages as well.
Oh, that's lake life.
Yeah, it is. It is. So people come here camping or just visiting for the day. Like it's always worth getting out on the lake for sure.
Yeah. I found that I was kind of like vibrating. You had that, like I drove a long distance vibrate, and it was just nice to sit by the water, and I felt everything just sort of settle in, and it was very lovely.
Good.
Yeah. In addition to the boating, I noticed some trails. What other things could a visitor do here?
So we have about 35 miles of trails, lots of different trails. Yeah. And they're all surrounding this big sprawling lake. So a lot of them do have that lake view at the end, or Troxel Point is one of our longest trails. It's at 3.5 miles one way, and it has a really cool overlook deck that the Pennsylvania Outdoor Corps built in 2019 that overlooks the dam breast and a Slate Lake Cove of the lake. So there's lots of trails that will give you a view of the lake or a view of waterfowl or different things. So lots of nice trails. We have an active snowmobile club that puts a lot of time and effort into the trail system. And hopefully one of these years we get a good snow.
Yeah, that's hard
for them. So we have that. We have also a really active sailing community and sailing club, and they host this amazing sailing camp every summer in June. They'll get 50 people, kids and through adults, out to it for the whole week.
Oh, fun.
It's really just kind of neat to see in the main channel of the lake, right behind the park office. You'll just see sailboats racing each other and going back and forth. It's neat. It's
that
fun.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
That definitely sounds like fun. Part of the idea behind the Think Outside podcast was to inspire stewardship. So what are some of the things that you are doing, or your volunteers or your friends group, to steward Prince Gallitzin State Park?
We have a very active friends group. In our campground, it has 7 big loops. So at any point in the camping season, we have 7 different campground hosts. So lots of campground hosts, and that's kind of like an easy hook for people to join the friends group.
Yes.
So a lot of our friends group is like they're retired or not, or close to being retired, but they're campground hosts. We also have people that aren't campground hosts, but generally our friends group is like an older crowd. They do great. They love hosting events. They host 3 or maybe 4 this year, free concerts at Muskrat Beach, and they're going to try one in the campground. They are great about like fundraising and making food and selling it at these special events. We have the Friends group also kind of just helps with a bunch of different programs in the campground, a 4th of July parade that the park hosts that they come out and help, a Memorial Day service. They do a Hawaiian themed fun event at the campground beach, a camper appreciation on Memorial Day. And then their big 2 events are at the end of the season. They have Apple Cider Fest, where we get between 15 and 20,000 people on a one-day event. But it's been like 35 years. So it's just like a local holiday. Everybody from all over the place comes to get some apple cider, hear some music, go for a hayride. And then the weekend after that, we have our next little local holiday. We do trunk or treats in the campground. It's always the second. Apple Cider Festival is the first Sunday in October, and trunk or treats is the next Sunday, or the weekend for the second Sunday in October. So every year the campground gets fully booked out, all 400 sites, and people decorate like more than most people decorate for Christmas. There's like blow-ups and mazes, and everybody goes all out, crazy Halloween decorations. The Friends group offers hay rides and does hot chocolate and popcorn, and it's just super fun. It's a lot of fun to see everybody all dressed up.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So if people are hearing this, they should make sure they try to get their reservation now.
Yeah. So our Friends group is very active with all of these special events, and they're all good fundraisers for them. And they take that money and invest them into trees or different needs like trail improvements. this year, we're recording this right before Earth Day. This year, the Friends Group bought probably like 60 trees, larger trees that we're planting. Then we had other ones donated. So we'll be planting them, and they're great about providing us what we need financially and material-wise to help keep our trails looking nice and stoned and really whatever we need. So
yeah. And we'll put the link to the Friends of Prince Gallitzin in the show notes so people can find them and learn about the events. You know, as I was driving up, I also noticed you have a very large solar array. And I know that Prince Gallitzin was sort of ahead of the curve with doing some things to help supply energy in a more natural way. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing here?
It's evolved over we had a windmill here for a while and it didn't work out that great. So it was taken down. We have a little solar array on our park office roof that's been here for 20 years, but they installed our large solar array a few years ago. It just went live last July of 2024. So it's almost been live for a year now. It was designed to take the park to net zero. So it was designed to make all the power that we use throughout the whole park. And it does very close to that. We don't have a full year of data, but it does pretty good at it. So we're like our own little city. We have a sewer plant, water plant, lift stations to move sewage across the lake, this big campground with lots of electric hookups. So lots of electric usage throughout the park. So it doesn't provide power during a power outage, but it feeds the power back to a grid and it subtracts off of all of our electric bills. So we've seen a great savings this year. So I think that the payoff will be less than 15 years. So maybe even less than 10 years. Like time will tell once we see how the production is.
Yes.
But what I found really interesting about it is the solar array, its most productive month was March.
Interesting.
Yeah. So even though we had it live like July and August, I think it doesn't do quite as good in the heat. So even though March had shorter days, it was a more productive sun because it wasn't battling the heat.
Oh, that's very interesting. I'm going to have to read up on that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're excited to have it here and excited to see the savings that it brings to the park. And so far, we've been allowed to spend that on other things. So the money has been staying in the park. So we're grateful. And it's a nice way to counteract all the electric that we use in the park because we use a lot of it.
Yes. So. And I don't think people realize that, as you mentioned, that it is like a little city, that you have water treatment, you have sewage, you have all of these things. That's the hidden infrastructure of a state park.
And even in our campground, I would say like 3 years ago, we added 25 electric full hookup sites. So electric, sewer, water. And so we thought that we were going to be at net zero. And then I saw the bills for those campsites rolling in each month. And because the campers are so big, they sometimes have, their refrigerator, their air conditioning, their everything. It's a substantial electrical cost. So yeah, no, it's nice to have the solar array to offset that.
Yes. And which is one of the reasons too, why those campsites are more expensive because they're utilizing more resources.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They definitely are well used and desired by a lot of people. So it's good. People have these amazing campers and it's great to see them come out to Prince Gallitzin to use them.
Yeah, it's a great place to be. Mm-hmm. So can you talk a little bit about like sort of the hidden Prince Gallitzin? What could we share with people that they might not know about the park? Yeah,
so our trails are really, I think, just underutilized, but we do have some amazing trails like Troxel Point Trail that I talked about with the Overlook, goes out the big peninsula that juts out into the lake. It's a great way to just kind of get away from everything. You may be able to hear some boat traffic, but that's it. Old Glendale Lake Trail crosses the dam breast and it kind of goes along Slate Lick Branch. That's a great trail and a great loop as well. So if you haven't been on the trails at Prince Gallitzin, they're worthwhile and they are interconnect. So you could make, whether you hike or run or just want to get out, you could make a 2-mile hike, or you could make it up to like a 13-mile round the lake loop type of thing. So there's lots of options there. The other like hidden part of Prince Gallitzin is our Slate Lick Cove. So it's not the main branch of the lake. It wraps around in an undeveloped part of the lake from the dam breast to kind of a marshy area off Marina Road. And it's great fishing. People fish there all the time, but it takes a little bit to boat there. So it's great for kayaking. We have lots of eagles in and around the park, and you always see them flying over, fishing in that section of lake. So great for waterfowl watching or anything you want to do. It's just really nice, calm, quiet. It's very windy up here at Prince Gallitzin. So even when on the main channel of the lake, the wind is just howling and it's not possible to kayak, Slate Lake Cove is protected because it's surrounded by mountains. So it's a little bit calmer. So that's if you like to kayak, canoe, or even just boat or hike, it's a nice place to go to. We have a few different trails that lead up to it.
I'm realizing that I have underutilized the trail system at Prince Gallitzin.
So I think that's common. We don't have you go to parks that have waterfalls or like these big must-see type of things, and you go on the trails. But these ones here, it's common. A lot of people just come to the park and see the lake, but don't go out on the trails. But we really do have a nice trail system.
And I like that you've mentioned that some of them are very quiet. Mm-hmm. And, we all need quiet.
Yes.
It really helps to calm the nerves and to center, and it's good for the wildlife. So it's nice to be able to find those places and knowing that they exist.
It sure is.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite story about your time here at the park or a memorable moment?
So I have a few. Right before COVID, this is a wildlife related one, but right during the peak of the COVID pandemic, we got a call from a trail runner that said that there was an injured eagle on the trail. So I thought for sure that it would be like just a tiny little bird or hawk or something like that. So I walk up this trail, and don't you know, there is an injured eagle just in the middle of the trail. Couldn't fly, but it was able to run or walk. So I called the assistant park manager, Tim, and I said, call the game commission and get your turkey net. We're going to have, and like a dog crate. We're going to have to take it to a wildlife rehab center. So he came, and one other guy from the game commission came, and it took us maybe an hour and a half of chasing this eagle around because couldn't fly at all, but it could run pretty fast. So we were triangulating it, trying to get around it to be able to net it. And every time we got in really close, it would see these two guys that were 6'5". Then it would see me, and I'm still tall, but not as tall as them. And it would lunge at me with its talons.
Oh, no.
So I would be like, nope, I'm out. So eventually we were able to catch it. My assistant, Tim Yeager, used to be a football player back in his high school days. He pulled out some crazy turkey hunting football tackle moves and netted it. And we took it to rehab at Center Wildlife in Port Matilda. And they had it for 6 months. And it had some lead poisoning.
Oh.
So it must have ingested, I think that time of year, it was maybe pheasant season. So some birdshot or whatever. And then they brought it back, and up on Headache Hill, our water tower, they let it go and released it back into the park. So
excellent.
Cool. Yeah.
Yes. Are you able to identify which one it is? I mean, was it banded at all during that process?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's always fun. Those wildlife people encounters are fun, but the wildlife encounters, because we see them at a distance so often, but those close wildlife encounters, last year, there was a drowning porcupine in a boat that we had.
So how do you rescue a porcupine?
Put a stick, was hoping it would crawl on. It didn't. We ended up having to net it, but then it kind of got stuck in the net a little bit.
Oh, golly.
Yeah. So those wildlife encounters are always just special. It makes me as a park manager or someone who works in state parks, makes me remember why I'm here and why I'm so lucky to work in a setting like this.
What are some of the wildlife that people would see if they were here? Obviously, we know porcupines and bald eagles.
Yeah, porcupines and bald eagles. We have, depending on the type of time of year, lots of different waterfowl, herons. You see, every time you're out on the lake, you see herons. We have a large beaver population that sometimes is almost too much because they will flood out a trail or whatever else. So we have a lot of beaver. So if you want to see a beaver, actually they flooded out the one trail a few years ago by the campground. They built their lodge on top of the trail. and then dammed
goodness.
ahead of it. So there was like the trail was underwater. So the Pennsylvania Outdoor Corps came and helped us, and we put a floating bridge over it that walks over the beaver lodge. So it's kind of neat. So you can get up close and personal without being in their face with beaver. We have a lot of muskrat. Our beach is called Muskrat Beach because we have so many muskrat in the park. What else do we have?
Good bird watching?
Yeah. There's very good bird watching all year round, good bird watching. And we have great bluebird and cavity nesting volunteers. We have lots of different bluebird boxes in the park, around 100 of them. And then we have another volunteer that has purple martin gourds down by the marina, and they're an active population as well. Some kestrel boxes, lots of wood duck boxes all over. And those things are all maintained and monitored solely by volunteers.
So a lot of volunteer opportunities for somebody that lives in the area or is coming and staying, because some of those volunteer opportunities are episodic, like they might be just for a day.
Yeah.
They can come out and volunteer.
Yeah.
And how does somebody find out about volunteer opportunities here?
Well, we have our calendar of events on DCNR's website. You can search calendar of events and look at Prince Gallitzin State Parks, and we have our certain trail work days. We have an Earth Day thing coming up this weekend with over, I think, 150 people signed up for it. But we also have a Facebook page, Prince Gallitzin State Park, and the Friends Group has a Facebook page. So they're shared on that page as well. Okay.
And I always want to commend the park staff because they truly understand that this is somebody's vacation. So they want to ensure that they're having a very positive experience. So there's a lot that goes into managing a park and maintaining a park.
Yeah, it's good. Like I said, a great staff here, and they all truly care and want everyone to stay, whether it's like for 5 minutes or for 2 weeks, to be the best possible. But yeah, it takes a team, a
team effort
team to get it going. So, and then that's the other thing of finding good employees, which I've been blessed that every time we have a vacancy, we've been able to fill it with some pretty good folks.
That's good.
It's a good thing.
Yes. Yeah. Are there any exciting projects or improvements coming up that you want to share or talk about?
Yeah, we just finished building we have a few more finishing touches, a big 5-bay pole building at the maintenance shop, which is great because all of our equipment was mostly stored outside. So it'll really help us better maintain our equipment. So that we're just wrapping up now. Next fall, and the campers will be super excited. We got funding to electrify 27 new campsites. So my staff will start working on that when the campground closes. So if it's a light winter, we'll be able to do them all. If not, we'll do some of them and get the rest of the year after. So we'll be working on that. Our Friends group is fundraising. They are hoping one of their next big projects that they're working on is fundraising for a courtesy dock at Muskrat Beach area. This Muskrat Beach area, it's kind of a shallow, if you're coming in from a boat, it's pretty shallow. So it's hard to get close with your pontoons. And everybody here on this lake has pontoons. Yes, so it's hard to get close enough that you can kind of jump off and go to the lake, or if we have concerts there or events there. So they're putting in a big courtesy dock so people will be able to better utilize the facilities there. So,
and if I recall, a few years ago, they put in an accessible canoe and kayak launch as well.
Yes, they did. The Friends Group helped get some grant funding and some other funding for that canoe kayak launch. It's at Beaver Dam Boat Launch, which is really close to our dam breast. Great place for kayaking and canoeing because it takes you a short little trip across the lake by the dam breast. It takes you into that Slate Lick Cove, which is the calmer area.
Nice.
So it's a good
and for
spot.
People that don't understand what that is, it helps to balance your canoe or kayak. And does this one have a transfer bench?
It does. So it has a transfer bench. So if a person is wheelchair bound, they could park their wheelchair on the dock, transfer onto the bench, and then into their kayak or canoe. And it has rollers. So as they're getting out of their vehicle, they could roll their boat to the bench and then roll off the dock and back onto the dock at the end of their trip.
Yes. And what we've been finding is that everybody loves them because it's so much easier to get in and out of a boat.
Yes. Especially as you get older, your knees,
the back.
Yes. Isn't the easiest thing getting in and out. So yeah, not just for people who are wheelchair bound. Really, it's nice anyone who thinks that their legs getting in or out of their boat especially may not be the easiest thing.
Yes, it brings it back to for people.
Some support.
So we do a round of quick fire questions.
Okay.
All right. So what's your favorite season in the park?
Winter. I'm a winter person. I don't deal well with the heat. I love when the lake freezes. I love it when there's a lot of snow. We have a little ice skating pond that we put in at Prince Gallitzin Marina on the parking lot because even though we have a big lake, it's inconsistent ice for ice skating. So we install a 4-inch pond so then we could just plow it off with whatever vehicle. And it's super fun. I love
sounds like
hockey.
Fun.
It's well used. So yeah, I love the winter. So.
What's the best sunrise or sunset spot?
Oh, Headache Hill. Maybe I didn't talk about that, but it is everybody knows about it locally. We have 2 different water towers, and one of them off of Long Road, it's pretty close to the campground as well. It has steps that you can walk to the top of it. And from the top of it gives a great view of maybe half of the lake. So beautiful sunrises, sunsets, beautiful place to see fireworks or watch the night sky. So,
and do you have good night skies here?
Yeah, we do. There's a little, not as good as Cherry Springs or some of those places, but we have really dark night skies there. It's nice.
Yeah, oftentimes people think of Cherry Springs, but many of our parks are dark areas. And it's once you get away from the city, it's just amazing how many stars are actually up there in the sky.
It's breathtaking. It's beautiful just to look up and see. There's so much out there. It's pretty neat. So yeah, Headache Hill, it's called that because I guess right after the park opened in the 60s, within the next year or two, they had a national camporee. And the Secretary of DCNR wanted to highlight the area and the new park that they just opened up. So they had the National Camporee here at Prince Gallitzin, and it was on Long Road by the water tower that at that point got named Headache Hill. It got named because during the camporee, there's 2 different reasons why it was called Headache Hill. Once because they had to put in all this above ground water piping. It was a lot of work. So maybe it was a headache for the staff. But then when everybody drove in from all over the country, there was 30,000 people camping all over these fields on Long Road. The noise on Headache Hill gave people headaches. It was pretty loud.
I would imagine that many people.
Yeah, back then in the 60s, that's a lot.
That is a lot. So was it a scouting jamboree or was it just
a national camporee?
A national camporee.
Not
wow.
Scouting related at all. Just so you see pictures and it was the whole countryside there. All these used to be farm fields, newly converted to state park, just filled with campers and tents and cars. So.
Interesting. And did they have activities for people?
I think they did. They had amphitheater. They had church services and music and things like that. So
very interesting. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, that's why it's called Headache Hill.
Local lore.
Yes.
So what is your go-to snack when you're out in the field?
I'm not a big snacker. I can go all day and then I'll eat when I get home. So I'm not eat throughout the day. So maybe a banana. I love cheese.
You look guilty. Don't feel guilty about that.
Banana or cheese is probably what I would snack on if I had to. But I don't usually bring snacks with me on the trail or out in the field at all.
Okay. Do you have any advice for first-time visitors or those looking to explore the park for the first time? Because it's a big park.
It is a big park.
Where do you start?
I would say if you are comfortable with camping, get a campsite, spend a day or 2. If you're not comfortable with camping, pick a hike, just a few mile hike that if you're able to, and get some views of the lake. If it's during the summer season, see if you can get on our pontoon tour or rent a pontoon boat and go out, try to catch some fish and just enjoy the views of the lake. So I would say get out on the water.
And is there a place that people can borrow angling equipment if they don't have any?
Yes, we have lots of different loaner items at the park office and at the campground office. And the campground office is open every day through the camping season, April through October. And the park office is open the rest of the year and in the summer as well.
And staff is always willing to guide a visitor, give them some advice.
Yep. So we have angling equipment. And then we also have, in the winter, we have a bunch of loaner equipment, ice skates, cross-country skis, ice fishing equipment that we lend out. During the summer, we have an 18-hole disc golf course that we have a great volunteer
we didn't
group.
mention that. Yeah.
And we have loaner discs. So if you just want to try the discs, playing disc golf, maybe just don't use a regular Frisbee. You'll get frustrated and it'll be harder. So you could borrow a set of discs and try it out. Yeah.
And what do people need to do to borrow that?
They would just either call and arrange ahead if it's going to be outside of normal business hours, and we'll kind of leave them out for you. You just need to provide your name and information, or stop by the campground office or the park office.
That's a great service.
Yeah.
Yes. We should say, though, that if you're over 16, you need a fishing license. You can't just try fishing.
Yes.
You have to have a license. But if you're under 16, you don't need a license.
There's a few fish for free days.
Yes.
Usually right around Memorial Day and 4th of July. But other than that, you need a license.
So take advantage of the fish for free if you don't have a license. Well, Jessica, is there any other thing that you would like to share with the listeners before we wrap up?
Well, just if you haven't been to Prince Gallitzin before, it is a trip getting here from almost anywhere in Pennsylvania. But I would say that it's worth a car ride. And maybe if you're able to plan out, whether it's renting a cabin or whatever, try to give yourself a few days to explore instead of just making it a one-day trip, so you could actually get the feel for the park and get to relax and enjoy it a little bit.
That sounds like great advice.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Think Outside, where every episode invites you to discover new places, build confidence, and find inspiration in nature. Love the show? Subscribe for more inspiration, share with a fellow explorer, and let's keep thinking outside together. For more resources and inspiration, visit thinkoutsidePodcast.org.